everyone. Welcome to the Kenny Wallace Show, or at least that's what I think we're going to call it. So welcome aboard for our very first installment. I can't do this by myself, so I have my producer with me, Charlie Marlowe. Charlie, how you doing, buddy?
Kenny, what's up? Everything is great here. I'm excited. I can't wait for this. I know you have a lot of NASCAR topics that you want to get your opinions out there on.
It's been a crazy week. Here we are late in the week, but the story in NASCAR is not what happened at Talladega, although I do want to talk about that. But it's been this crazy Denny Hamlin phenomenon, right? I think it's a crazy story. So Denny gets in a little bit of trouble on Twitter. And as we know, there was a day that we thought Twitter was child's play. Twitter's so funny. Charlie, now we got the Pope on there. We got the president on there. And now all these sports leagues, whether it's Major League Baseball, NHL, or now NASCAR is monitoring these athletes. And I thought what Denny Hamlin did was all in fun. So let me set the stage for you. You have Denny Hamlin, who has won a lot of NASCAR races. And he's good friends with Kyle Larson. Now, mind you, Kyle Larson is, I believe he's like Asian descent. So at Talladega, at the very end of the race, Kyle Larson makes a swift move and ends up wrecking some cars. One of the cars was Bubba Wallace. The owner of Bubba Wallace's car is Denny Hamlin. So Denny goes to make fun of him and uses a meme. And can you believe it? This little bitty meme is what gets Denny Hamlin in trouble. The meme is this Asian woman just driving wild. And that was it. That's all there was to it. So NASCAR, they're part of the digital age and they're all over everything. They see everything. And they felt it wasn't appropriate. They looked in their handbook and they said, if you disparage anybody of any different look, so he got in trouble. And he has to go to sensitivity training. Now that we set the stage, let me give you my opinion, Charlie. We're all out of hand right now. We are just totally out of hand. To me, I thought it was fun. I didn't think it was necessary to go so far. But here's my opinion on it. You have 100%, and you got this little percentage of people that are all upset, and now you got well over 90% of corporate America trying to please the people that are really less than 10%. So I believe, my opinion is that we got 90% of America stopping everyday American life and making everybody apologize for using a meme that was, to me, harmless, funny. And I don't want to get off topic, but that's what's happened with comedy nowadays. Now comedians are finding themselves out of jobs. They can't make fun or have fun of anything anymore. I think it was all a waste of fresh air. And I don't like where NASCAR is headed with this. Although I do love NASCAR very much. But I just think, as they said when we were kids, Charlie, I think we're making a mountain out of a molehill.
Yeah, from what I've read about this too. So Denny Hamlin, then he took the tweet down and he apologized. He's going through this racial sensitivity training. But also, when I look at matters like this, I always look at intent. And I truly don't believe that Denny Hamlin had the intent to make statements or make fun of a different race. And he said, okay, I picked the wrong meme and he's going to have to go through this training, but I don't think there was real malicious intent to make any type of racial comments or racial stereotypes. So it's one of those things where he has to kind of go in the penalty box, but I don't think it's one of these huge deals. It's kind of interesting because it happened with Kyle Larson, who had his own racial sensitivity issue a couple years back. And as you said, that's kind of just where we are in the world and with NASCAR as well.
Yeah, and I think when we do the Kenny Wallace Show with my dear friend Charlie Marlowe, I think it's important that, we talk about the subjects at hand. I always tell everybody, when I grew up as a kid in high school, we had what we call current affairs. Whether we're reading the newspaper or we're on our cell phones nowadays, we have the, I don't know about you, Charlie, I'm a lot older than you. I'm 58. But, when I would read the newspapers, they had an editorial section. That's where people gave their viewpoint. Well, now we're all giving our viewpoint. And that's just the world we live in. So, once again, it is over. It's in the past. However, I always use this, and it bothers people. I call this a new world order. And we are in a new world order. We have a new set of rules, and it's hard because sometimes you just do things and it makes you look like a fool. And you're like, whoa, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it bad. We're joking, we're having fun. It's comedy. But now all of a sudden, there's no comedy. You're not allowed to hurt anybody's feelings, even if you make a mistake. So now it's cancel culture. As I'm talking, that's the word that comes up. It's called cancel culture. Cancel everybody that does something just a little bit off the highway. And I just think that's too much pressure on people to be perfect. And just because Denny Hamlin makes, $10, $20 million a year doesn't mean, and now I'm going to be careful when I say this because I know this can be taken the wrong way. Just because somebody makes a lot of money, whether they're a baseball player, doesn't mean they're supposed to be perfect. Now, are they to be held to a higher standard? I don't know. Can they solve world peace? But still, you're right, Charlie. You're the one that's got to keep me calm. That's your job. I just think everything's so sad now. It's just a sad situation.
And that's where I think specifically with this story, and you talk about cancel culture and other folks, they might call it consequence culture. I think you have some people sometimes that do say or do some really bad things, but I don't think what Denny Hamlin did is one of those things. I think if anything, it's a misdemeanor, and he has apologized and he's going through the training and he's going to move on, and he took the tweet down. So we talk about all this stuff, but I think this is a blip on the radar for Denny Hamlin. I don't think this is a story we talk about beyond this week, in my opinion.
Well, and I do mean this in a nice way. I think he ends up with more fans because I think America now can see that all this is just out of hand. It's just totally out of hand. We can make a list, maybe hundreds and hundreds of people in the United States in journalism that have gotten in trouble. So, yeah, all right. We don't want to beat this with a dead horse. What do you got next, Charlie?
Okay, so on a lighter note, kind of, because also we're talking about, I guess, potentially criminal activity. But man, you brought this story up to me and I had to look it up. And yeah. So what do we got? We got Daniel Dye with some groin punching, or they're punching groins. They're putting heads in people's groins. What the hell is going on here?
Charlie, it sounds like kids play to me. Once again, and this is the story of what we're talking about. For some reason, the race cars are not in the news, and that's what should be in the news. They're putting this type of things to the forefront. Daniel Dye, a wonderful kid. Not just do I like him, I love his hair. He's got a lot of hair. reminds me of my brother Rusty and my brother Mike and myself back in the early 80s. Daniel's got a load of hair, and he's a great kid. And I guess they got to joking around, having a good time, and somewhere it just got to be a big deal. And they got it filed under night, it was a deal where the police are coming and whoa, what? It's one of those deals. It's all over the news. You can find it anywhere. But once again, it falls under everything I just said. What is going on? There's an old Aerosmith song, and it's about a 15-year-old song, and it says, something's wrong with the world today. The light bulb's getting dim. And there's meltdown in the sky. Everybody's melting down over every little thing. And to me, this one here, you know, it's current affairs. We have to talk about it because it's national news reported by Bob Pockrass, who works for Fox Sports, NASCAR on Fox. And Bob reported it, breaking news. I mean, Daniel Dye's a kid. I don't think he's 23 years old. I guess by then you're supposed to be perfect and be a man. But once again, my headline on this is we should be talking about Talladega, you know, not these two things that they choose to put up front.
So let me ask you this, though, because we talk about this a lot with the NFL, where it's basically a soap opera, not just on the field, but off the field. Even if storylines are negative, I hate to say it, but sometimes they're able to grab the headlines on ESPN.com. And so these stories that we're talking about, Denny Hamlin, Daniel Dye, even though they're not positive stories, in a weird way, if people are talking about NASCAR, the good, the bad, and the ugly, in the same way we talk about politics, we talk about other sports where if people are doing things they shouldn't off the court, off the field, in a way, is it building the brand of NASCAR? Are people talking about NASCAR more and even the bad things, even the drama involved?
You know, I have to agree with you. You know, there's a side of me there's a side of me that says people want to know that we're all the same. So if we can see that people make mistakes, see, to me, it's all psychological. So somebody can drive a race car real good. And I always tease, they can drive a car at a high rate of speed in a circular rotation, and they get paid a lot of money. Common people that do common things, you know, just go to work every day, they feel like because those people make a lot of money, it makes them feel bad, like, oh, well, how come I don't make that kind of money? So I feel like when those people that make 10 and 20 million a year, when the people that are common folk, when I say common folk, let me give you my guidelines for common folk. People that go to work every day, 8 to 5, you know, that's us. It means nothing more, nothing less. But when they see that somebody that makes a lot of money is like us, they like that. And I believe that's why they tune in to things that we think are silly, because they want to go, oh, they're like us. Oh, just because he makes 20 million a year, he's like us. And I think you're right, Charlie. That's where that interest level comes from. And I think that's why in my day, we had the Enquirer. And it was crazy. It was UFO lands in Chicago. And people buy the damn newspaper. And they read the story. So, yeah, you're right, Charlie. It is a story, unfortunately.
It's funny you say that about some of these tabloid magazines, because they actually have a section. I don't usually read these, but they have that section, Stars Are Just Like Us. And it's them wearing bad clothes and getting coffee and with no makeup on. And it's like, oh, stars, they're just like us. They have sweatpants. They're drinking their coffee. And it's funny because it's exactly what you just described there, where people just want to see famous rich people acting like us.
And in reality, first of all, you are 110% right. And we are all the same. But listen, I'll argue with anybody till the cows come in, whatever that means. Not everybody's the same. Some people, I believe God gifted some people to use their brain a little bit more. Whoever invented the cell phone, it was one man. You know, we got billions of people or millions of people on earth. How come nobody else did it? Well, that man's something special. I mean, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell. I mean, our forefathers. Listen, I have to admit that Jeff Gordon is better than me. I have to admit that my brother Rusty, now I don't say better than me. Let me back up. They can drive a race car better than me. To me, I believe that when people admit that other people have special talent, you have to admit that, Charlie. I mean, I can't escape like these hockey players do. I can't hit and feel the ball. Like, I just can't. And I feel like we're in a culture right now where people don't want to recognize that. They want to think we're all the same, which is ridiculous.
All right, some actual racing type stories and news. The next gen car, which we talked about a ton, obviously, before the year started, is it doing what it's supposed to do? Ross Chastain wins with this car, road course, Talladega. Is this a car where you can win on any track now?
You know, Charlie, you and I talked about this in one of our YouTubes earlier in the year, maybe 2-3 months ago. I was defending NASCAR. I said, hold on now. And now we're seeing what I said is 100% accurate. Now, I do want to throw a disclaimer out there. I love being wrong because when you're wrong, you're learning. But recently announced after the Talladega win, the Talladega race was on Sunday. On Monday, it was reported that Ross Chastain, when he won the Talladega race, that was the same car that he won in Texas at the Circuit of America track. Charlie, let me tell you something. 2 years ago, you could have never thought about doing anything like that. So this car, although it's expensive up front, you don't need, 16 cars anymore. Because this car can win on a road course. It can, when they decide to run a street course, this car has changed NASCAR good in every single way. Yes, it's a little slow getting going. Yes, they're having a tough time getting parts, because it's new and everybody's just, they're hungry. Give me. And they're getting. Charlie, this car has made it to where Pitbull, the entertainer, joined up with Justin Marks, and they said, we're getting into NASCAR now because now we can buy this car, so to speak, like we're going to the grocery store. We can buy this car off the shelf. Everybody's got the exact same car. And what makes the difference is the motors, the drivers, the pit stops, some small handling techniques. And there's just enough of a difference where the top ones show up, they stand out. And so this was big news. This was big news on Monday, so big to even Mark Martin, one of the greats in NASCAR, who still is very popular on social media, said, hey, how come we didn't hear about this yesterday? So this car, although it's between $425,000, $450,000. But with that comes spare parts and things of that nature. But listen, it's an expensive sport. It's not meant for everybody. And so yeah, that was big news, and I do like that.
So Kenny, you had some great interactions on social media, Facebook, Twitter, with fans, dirt fans, NASCAR fans, trying to bring them together. A lot of it was over that Bristol dirt race. And you were talking about the attendance, and then on TV, the TV ratings come out. There's over 4 million people that watch that race. So what do you think about just NASCAR in person versus TV? Overall, are the ratings better than what NASCAR expected this year?
Well, that is I got a lot of things going on in my head right now because I'm thinking about local dirt racing. Let's go to dirt racing for a minute. We have these apps that have become very popular. The most popular one is called Flow Racing. Maybe it stands for Florida. Flow Racing. NASCAR is involved with them now. They started out small. They got super big. If you get this Flow app, you can watch everything. You can watch kids wrestle at school. You can watch softball. This app is by far the biggest app for sports, I believe. You can watch snowmobile racing, and just so happens that now they're doing these special races through the weekday. They just had one 2 nights ago at Eldora. Then they had one last night in Brownstown, Indiana. 2 nights in a row. The ratings are through the roof. People are paying, I don't know, a couple $100 a year for this app. You can sit at home and watch it all. The thought process is that, hey, people are going to watch this, and then maybe next year they're going to want to come to that race in person. But this year is different because with the high gas prices and our administration, not just doing a lot of talk right now. Gas prices are $5 a gallon, hotel rooms, food, everything's through the roof. So people are taking advantage of the apps and they're taking advantage of TV. And I think that's one reason that you're seeing these apps, and I think you're seeing dirt racing, doing so good with, they're making an enormous amount of money on these apps. And I am controversial. I am the one that brought it to the forefront. And a month or so ago, I said, why are there nobody in the stands? And there were a handful of people. So if there's 100 people, there's about 4 people that thought I was being mean. I said, no. I said, Kyle Larson is there. The best dirt drivers in the world are there. Where are the people in the grandstands? And I had a handful of people say, well, you don't need to be there in person anymore. It's on TV. And I'm like, damn, really? So there is a place for everything, in my opinion. I've learned a lot. Everybody's learning a lot. Now let's talk about NASCAR. All right. So NASCAR changed a lot. They made this new car. They changed everything. The locations of the races, they got rid of Kentucky. They got rid of Chicagoland, and they added a racetrack inside the UCLA Coliseum. Everybody had to see. Everybody had to go, I got to watch this. NASCAR finds themselves right now. Let's go back to the Bristol NASCAR dirt race. Over 4 million viewers. Now, remember, that's an average. Like at Talladega, they got to 6 million people watching. The average was a little over 4 million. Charlie, 4 million. So Fox Sports and everybody said, hey, we're going to put dirt on Bristol again. Because although there was a lot of people complaining, it was a small majority with big mouths. And when the numbers come out, they don't lie. So NASCAR's got it going on right now, Charlie. No matter what you think, numbers don't lie. And NASCAR's kicking butt right now. They really are. They're averaging 4 million people. So that means these companies are going to want to advertise. And so there's going to be money. Advertising companies are going to want to advertise, and that's good for the sport.
So besides the next gen car, what you said, which is going on with television, why else do you think NASCAR is on the uptick this year? What do you think they're doing well? And also anything else you'd like to see them change to be even better potentially?
I think the number one reason NASCAR is better this year is they are showing new things. It's all new. So the people my age, I'm 58. We know that our core, our grassroots base, the Dale Earnhardt Sr., just compare any popular player in your home area. You're from Ohio. I'm from St. Louis. My glory days was Albert Pujols 10 years ago, winning 2006, 2011. But that, Charlie, that was a long time ago, 10 and 15 years ago. And those people now are my age, 60 years old. They have to play to everybody now. And while people my age are complaining that everything's changed, they have to play to everybody. And I think the reason NASCAR is doing better now is they're playing to everybody. Steve Phelps, the president of NASCAR, came out a couple of years ago and he says, we made a mistake. We forgot about our grassroots. There's some things going on right now that are awesome. They're bringing back North Wilkesboro. Now, not for NASCAR, but they're bringing it back. And they're going to, people just love that old racetrack. And, they receive some money from the government through this coronavirus bailout, $7 million, so they can fix that track up. Now everybody's excited. They put that racetrack inside that UCLA Coliseum. Formula One's running 3 races in the United States. They said some of their biggest ticket sales they've seen in the world. Formula One is going to race in the city of Miami. I read an article where it's the biggest street course attendance for ticket sales they've ever seen in the world. So now that's not NASCAR, but I'm just saying that it seems like motorsports altogether is on the uptick, whether it's your local dirt racing because of the apps, good racing, NASCAR promising all these new things and showing them. And I got to be honest, the racing is good. You might have one race here or there that's not a good one, but they're all good. Last lap pass at Bristol for the win. They are dramatic. That race at Talladega, it came down to the last 100 foot. So I think all those reasons, everything's new, everything's changing, great finishes, the car is doing what it's supposed to do, new owners. It's exciting.
All right, you mentioned Albert Pujols, so I got to ask you about the Cardinals. I went to the game yesterday with my 4-year-old daughter. She only lasted about 6 innings. I had to leave in the 6th inning because you know how it is with a 4-year-old, tantrum mode. So of course I missed when the bench is cleared. And for folks that weren't watching, basically Cards Mets Tuesday night, there was a bunch of, in my opinion, unintentional bean balls, guys getting beaned. But then you had kind of more pitches high and tight on Wednesday. And finally, Nolan Arenado, a pitch that was close to his head, not super close. And also Steven Matz had thrown a pitch to Brandon Nimmo of the Mets earlier that was even closer, but you kind of got the feeling that the benches were going to clear at some point. There wasn't really a lot of punches, a little bit of wrestling. What'd you think of that?
I thought it was great for the sport of Major League Baseball because you got to go back to 2006, and you know where I'm going with this. The Cardinals outrun the Mets in stunning fashion. Yadier Molina in 2006, hits that home run. Spezio, Wainwright, cripples Beltran with that incredible curveball. And the Cardinals go to the World Series, by outrunning the Mets in stunning fashion in the biggest city in America. And the Mets have not forgot about that. And maybe the players have, which it's all new players, but I believe it bleeds over. We used to have a tussle with Houston. We have a tussle with the Cubs. And all it takes is just to touch somebody. And the Mets are all in this year. The great thing about baseball is for some reason they got to report what everybody's spending. And we know that here we're playing poker. The Mets are all in this year. They got Scherzer and, they got some great players, and we went toe to toe with them. Just a little something like that. If Warren Arenado doesn't make an error, we take 2 out of 3. So we did not receive an ass whipping from the Mets. We gave the game away the first game. They beat us the second game, and we outrun them the third game. So in my mind, we won 1 of 3. But in reality, in my mind, it's like if we go to the playoffs, we won 2 out of 3 because of Arenado's error. So it needed to happen. I don't think we're done seeing it. I think it's going to happen in New York at Citizens Field. I think there's going to be another fight, but it's New York City, so I am afraid for our boys. They get it on up there in New York. It's a tough town.
And early season baseball where sometimes the weather's not great. This series was awesome to watch. To watch an early series like this in April, Cardinals and Mets, 2 teams you think are going to be in the playoffs. I hope they meet in the postseason because it's going to be awesome. That was really fun baseball to watch. My last question for you is, okay, we taped this on a Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, is my 5th anniversary with my wife. So you got to give me your best anniversary gift, a gift you gave, a gift you received, or maybe just some advice. You're a little bit older than I. So what am I supposed to do here on my 5th anniversary?
First of all, Charlie, you know me, my head works in different ways than everybody else. Happy anniversary, baby. I got you on mine. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
And listen, it's not easy. Me and my wife have done some fighting in our early days, things that I'm not proud of. But in the end, women want love and men want to know that they're doing a good job. So I learned this, motor racing outreach. They are at the racetrack they say every once in a while you should sit down with your wife, Charlie, and go, honey, I love you. I love you so much. You're number one in my life. But when you chew your food, it just really bothers me because you chew so loud. Would you please stop? So, I really, listen, I'm excited for you. You got a beautiful life. And my marriage has not been a bed of roses, but me and Kim love each other. I'm looking at her right now. And I couldn't have chose a better lady, but women need love. That's all I'm going to tell you. Tell them how great they are every single day.
Love it. Well, tell you what, this was fun. The first ever Kenny Wallace Show. We're going to do a bunch of different stuff here on YouTube. And remember, if you like this, I hope you did. If you're still watching here, give us that thumbs up. Throw us a comment. What did you like? Maybe you disagree with us. Put it there in the comments. And as always, subscribe as well.
I want to leave everybody with this, Charlie. On Wednesdays, we're going to answer the fans' question. You, as my producer, I've asked you to please let's gather up the controversial questions and the nice questions. So we're going to come up with that name, and we're going to do 2 shows a week. So Wednesday, we're going to answer the fans, and we're going to be talking about these NASCAR races and whatever's in the news.
Can't wait. Gonna be awesome. Thank you, sir. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Charlie.